Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamunati Ravanachari Jamunati Ravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotara Shatashi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotara Shatashi Srimad His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Garantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Shishiguru and Shigauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Withdrawal of the Cosmic Creation, Chapter 3, Gajendra's Prayers of Surrender, text number 4. Jaswatmanidam nijamaya jarpitam Kvachit vibhatan kvachaktattirohitam Abhidhadrikshakshilbhajam tat ikshate Sa atmamulo batuman paratpara Swaswatmanidam nijamaya jarpitam Kvachit vibhatan kvachatat tirohitam abhidhadrik shakshubhajam tat ikshate sa atmamulo batumam parat para jaswataman jaswatmanidan nijamajajarpitam Quachit vibhatan quachatat tirohitam abhidhadrik shakshubhajam tak ishate sa atmamulo batuman parat para. Christian. Like this. Jaha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who Swaatmani, in him, idam, this cosmic manifestation, nijamajaya, by his own potency, arpitam, invested, quachit, sometimes at the beginning of a kalpa, vibhatam, it is manifested, quacha, sometimes during dissolution, tat, that manifestation, tirohitam, not visible, abhidhatrik, he sees everything in all these circumstances. Shakshi, the witness, ubhayam, both manifestation and annihilation. Tat ikshate, sees everything without loss of sight. Saha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sorry, right, that's Supreme Personality of Godhead. Atmamulaha, self-sufficient, having no other cause. Avatu, please give protection. Mam, unto me. Parat paraha, he is transcendental to transcendental. or above all transcendence. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by expanding His own energy, keeps the cosmic manifestation visible and again sometimes render it invisible. He is both the supreme cause and the supreme result, the observer and the witness in all circumstances. Thus, He is transcendental to everything. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead give me protection. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has multipotencies, parasya shaktir vidadaiva shrujate. Therefore, as soon as He likes, He uses one of His potencies, and by that expansion He creates a cosmic manifestation. Again, when the cosmic manifestation is annihilated, it rests in Him. Nonetheless, He is infallible, the Supreme Observer, infallibly the Supreme Observer. Under any circumstances, the Supreme Lord is chainless. He is simply a witness and is aloof from all creation and annihilation. Ya swatmani dan nija maya jarpitam kvachit vibatan kvachatat tirohitam avidhadrik shakshi ubhajantat ikshate sat atma mulo batumam parat paraha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by expanding His own energies, keeps this cosmic manifestation visible and again sometimes render it invisible. He is both the supreme cause and the supreme result, the observer and the witness in all circumstances. Thus He is transcendental to everything. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead give me protection. Om Agyana Timirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chaksur Ummilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurube Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirveshesha Shunyavadi Pashatyadi Sakarine Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. There's a very important approach that one has to have in order to fully offer not only devotional service, but actually to fully surrender to the personality of Godhead. And that is to understand how great He is. And how not only great, but actually inconceivably great. To naturally being able to surrender, to have full faith and place oneself, at under the protection, under the shelter of Krishna. That's something that is very strongly presented and consistently presented in the Bhagavad Gita by Krishna Himself when He's, explaining the whole science of God. And is one thing that we find is, and the scripture tells us that to understand the personality of Godhead for the ordinary living entity is impossible. It's impossible to actually just by our prowess, the human intellect, to understand how great God is. In general, the The further sometimes, ordinary people can approach is just to have, you create, is almost like, better you don't discuss about it. You just have faith that there's something great out there. But how is inconceivable. And the there is a verse. There's a verse in the Brahma in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami says, Navavet Grahyam Indriya. By our blown senses, we cannot approach the understanding of the personality of God. There is no way to understand. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains why, because is the Raja Guhyam. Is actually a secret. It's the king of all secrets. It's the king of it is very what is the word that is used? Is when it's something very personal, what is that? Confidential. Correct. Thanks. The most confidential knowledge, right? So it's very confidential. It's not something that is open to anyone. And in the 9th chapter, which is the heart of the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna fully reveals, the most confidential knowledge, devotional service, when he starts to explain to Arjuna, now he's going to explain about devotional service, which is basically what he's been talking along to Arjuna throughout. I mean, you guys are sort of, at least the devotees who are doing the Bhakti Shastri right now, you're reviewing chapter 1 to 9. And, Krishna presented first to Arjuna this path, this knowledge, that even a little advancement that you make in this knowledge, in this path, then can save you of the greatest danger. So he explains to Arjuna the path of devotional service. And as he goes, well, now he's going to, in chapter 9, he's going to fully explain it. And so listen carefully. He said to Arjuna, I'm going to reveal this to you. Well, you have the qualifications. You're my devotee and you're not envious. And devotional service is the king of all knowledge. And it's also the greatest secret. It's the most confidential knowledge. And if you're able to receive this transcendental knowledge of devotional service, then is the perfection of religion, because it allows you to experience the self by realization. That's what it says, Pratyaksha Bhagavan Dharmyam. That by you personally, you have a personal experience of this greatest knowledge. So it's not something that is just a book knowledge, but it's experiential. And you also start to experience, happiness, which is what we're looking for. Susukan Kartun Abhyayam. And Krishna says that, so it's through devotional service that we'll be able to understand this greatest, most confidential knowledge. It's devotional service will allow us to receive that. And so not by our blown senses, not by our intelligence, not by our minds that we're ever going to conceive this, because it's the greatness of Krishna is just beyond comprehension. human comprehension. So, so we have to have faith. We have to have faith in Krishna. But to have faith in Krishna, you have to understand who Krishna is. Krishna says, that the importance of having faith on Him and the path of devotional service that He's given, the instruction that He's given. Because if we don't have faith on that, He says, what is the result for those who are those who are not faithful? That mitru samsara barmani. The following verse of that, that for those who have not faith, repeated birth and death. Basically, that is the result. So, devotional service is that knowledge that if devotional service is not present, the result will be repeated birth and death. And that is for any from, unfaithful persons to karma bodies, to Brahma bodies, to yogis. If devotional service is not present, then it's repeated birth and death. Regardless, even if one is in a transcendental path, if it's not under the umbrella of devotional service, then it will be repeated birth and death. That's what Krishna says. So, to have that faith, the first thing that Krishna started to explain when he started to explain to Arjuna this most confidential knowledge, what is that first section of the 9th chapter that Krishna started to explain? This Aishwarya Gyan, which is, the knowledge of Krishna's inconceivable potencies. This Parasya Shaktir Vidadayu Srujate, that is inconceivable because what from verses 9.4 to 9.10, Krishna explains this Achintya Shakti. Achintya means inconceivable. Inconceivable because one hears what he says and say, well, he says, everything is white, but then everything is black. So you have all these contrary, opposing things that he's saying with in one verse he says something and the next verse he contradicts it. So there's this whole apparent contradiction that Krishna presents, but the things he says simultaneously, they're there. So the Achintya Veda Veda Tattva, this conception of oneness and difference, these conceptions of opposing, contradictory things simultaneously being present and fully manifested. So to understand that is inconceivable. It's inconceivable. That's what the Achintya. So Krishna says, as he says that, he says, just behold my mystic potencies, Yoga Aishwaram. So that's how great he is. I'm going to read text in the Bhagavad Gita 4 to 10, and then maybe we can, try to break it down a little bit. So this is right as he started to explain. The first thing is, this Yoga Aishwaryam, this Aishwarya Gyan, as he started to reveal to Arjuna in more detail the most confidential knowledge. He say, by me, in my unmanifested form, the entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. The Sanskrit that he uses for all beings are in me is Matstani Sarvabhutani. Matstani Sarvabhutani. He says, all beings are in me, are situated in me. The next verse, he says, Na chamat stani bhutani, the contrary zone. That he's saying, now all beings are not in me. So this is how Krishna is speaking. So again, we read them all together. So by me, in my own manifested form, the entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I'm not in them. And yet, everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I'm the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I'm not part of this cosmic manifestation. For myself is the very source of creation. Understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky, all created beings rest in me. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature, and at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. The whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will is automatically manifested again and again, and under my will it is annihilated at the end. O Dhananjaya, all this world cannot bind me. I am ever detached from all these material activities, seated as though neutral. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. So, Krishna is a perfect example when we talk about of the perfect manager. That, people write books about, how to be, a very, very good manager. Basically, how you can empower someone, how to say it? Delegate. You delegate powers, to someone. So you may be sitting in your office, sort of like doing certain things, and at the same time, so many things are happening in some big corporation. You may, someone like, I don't know, what's the name of the Microsoft guy, Bill Gates, in this huge, huge enterprise, worldwide enterprise is happening. Meanwhile, he's just figured out the next, thing that he's going to add to his whatever company. So great managers, they write books, but no manager is like Krishna. He's inconceivably, because just think about it. Prabhupada puts example of how great Krishna is and the way he's managed this whole creation. When we speak about the creation and how everything that is there, he's all pervaded in the creation. It's explained that he says that everything rests on him. Everything that is created rests on him. And so when we have someone that things are supported by him, by someone, so say if you have something that you're the total support of that, then automatically there's an involvement, there's an emotional involvement with it for that to be able to exist. If something is fully supported by you, suppose like you're a family person, your family, you're supporting your family, your children depends on you. So there's a natural connection that happens. There's no such a thing as a detached parent. The natural thing is that the parents, there's an attachment. There's an attachment to what you're supporting. There is a connection. And so Krishna is so powerful that he's so involved that everything is connected to him, but at the same time, he is detached from everything. And he can do that to his transcendental potencies. So we have this whole cosmic manifestation, not only, not only the material, but also the spiritual. So many things are going on. So many things are going on. But Krishna is present in his own planet, Goloka Vrindavan, just playing. While this whole thing is happening and all changes are things, wars have been created, things have been annihilated, this gigantic cosmic manifestation, there's in this tiny little planet, there is some difficulty, some wars, I think, and people are fighting, and these people are insulting, these people are killing, this whole thing is happening. Then things have been taking place, things are moving around, so much is happening. Krishna, meanwhile, is simply enjoying with his cowherd friends, running down the hill, and some bunch of cowherd boys are running after Krishna, trying to touch Krishna, and someone is stealing the lunch, and then he's dancing with the gopis, like that, and then Mother Yasoda, is feeding him, and that's what Krishna does. So, if we have, for example, imagine have someone who is the head of a particular, institution or corporation. Say, for example, we have a temple president that you have never seen. And then when you find about it, oh yeah, he's just playing golf, down the road, and well, but Prabhu, we have this difficulty. There's no one, doing who's doing the cooking and thing. Where's the leader? No, he's just down the road in his home, just watching movies, something like that, or playing with his friends. So what kind of it is impossible to have someone being controlling something so complex without being involved. But Krishna is simultaneously completely detached, completely separated from it. And at the same time, he's fully on the top of the thing. So much that he's present everywhere. And he's conscious directly and indirectly of everything. He's so involved, but at the same time he's not. Behold his mystic opulences. Behold his capacity of managing. And how great he is. So from the perspective of Krishna, through his energy, through his will, automatically everything is taken care of. That verse, Parasya Shaktir Vidadaiva Shrujate, that he have unlimited, inconceivable potencies, and by his potencies, automatically everything is taken care. And what is automatically is not like a robot thing, it's a very conscious thing. It's not, like you have an automatic machine just like taking care of things, that it doesn't have a consciousness. Each of Krishna's energies is fully conscious. Each one is an expansion of himself. And his supreme consciousness is fully present in each one of them. And in this way, he covers everything, the whole thing. So from Krishna's perspective, just by his expansions, he's able to carry everything, being fully involved. From our perspective, how great Krishna is, how great Krishna is, how inconceivably great he is. Even just from the perspective of who we are. Prabhupada gives the example, there's a famous quote of him with, at that time, Brahmananda Prabhu, just explaining how tiny we are. So, here, in this building, there are billions of living entities, spirit souls. Just within this table of the microphone, or the space, under the walls, there's so many living entities that are living in this space, and we're one of those living entities that is sitting in this room, which is one of the rooms of this building, one of the many rooms of these buildings, which is this building is within one of the many buildings that is in this neighborhood, which is one of the many neighborhoods that is in this city, which is one of the many cities that is in this country, which is one of the many countries that is in this continent, which is one of the many continents that is in this world, which is one of the many, and then you go like that. This world is one of the many planets among this, how you say, the planetary system, which is one of the many, among this universe, which is this universe, which is considered, is just, the scripture tells us that this universe is like a mustard seed in a huge bag of mustard seed. So a mustard seed is even smaller, it's like a tiny little thing, So imagine one mustard seed in a huge, 1-ton bag of mustard seeds. It's tiny and inconceivable. So, and all these universes, there come out of one of the pores of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Mahavishnu. And Lord Mahavishnu is an expansion of Shankarshan, who is an expansion of Mahasankarshan, who is an expansion of Lord Balaram, who is the first expansion of Lord Krishna, who is a cowherd boy who's playing his flute and playing with his cowherd friends, in Vrindavan. So there he is. How great he is and how tiny we are. Krishna is Bidhu. He is inconceivably great, unlimitedly great. And we are Anu, which is, like unlimitedly small, something like very, very tiny. So when we come to know this, the first item of fully in receiving this most transcendental and greatest body of knowledge, the knowledge of devotional service, is that we have to understand Krishna's position. Therefore, the scriptures, the Bhakti Shastras, they always establish in great detail Krishna's greatness, even before going into a more intimate connection and relationship with Krishna. Prabhupada explains that if we don't establish first in ourselves our faith in Krishna's greatness, then the most like result of that is that we become sahajas. And sahajas means that one takes everything very cheaply. It doesn't have substance. It's just, a shell manifestation of devotion, no substance. Because it's based on just a sentimental thing, which is, what people sometimes externally they may see of devotees. So, the usual criticism that ignorant people sometimes does towards devotional service. Even during Lord Chaitanya's time, he was questioned like that, this is all sentimental, just singing and dancing like that, what is the substance of that? Usually when you see people constantly, being, singing and dancing and singing and dancing and all, and like that, okay, but, that's good for some time, but now let's get into some serious business, So, but that is when the substance is there, there is an amazing, huge body of knowledge, of philosophy that is behind that that just supports those activities, the activities of devotional service. But if we don't have the understanding of Krishna's greatness, then it will be the substance won't be there. So first, what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati used to say, first deserve, then desire. First deserve, then desire. The deserve part is that we have to connect with Krishna and have faith that He's so great that He will, He is the greatest shelter. Arjuna says that Param Dhamma Pavitram Bhavam, that you are the Param Dhamma, you're the supreme shelter. You're the supreme shelter because you're the supreme personality. Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, because you're the supreme person. Supreme. So, same. Gajendra is just how great you are, therefore kindly give me protection. Kindly give me protection. So it's a natural thing. It's a natural thing when we understand. Aham sarvasya prabhamata sarvam prabhata iti matto vajante man bhutva bhava samambita. That naturally, when we understand that Krishna's position, the natural result of that is that we give ourselves in devotion to Krishna. It's natural. So therefore, it's important to study. That's why so much is given in the Bhagavatam about Krishna's greatness, and how devotees, all these stories, over and over, have a very consistent theme in terms of devotees coming to Krishna and establishing that loving relationship. But it comes to the realization of how wonderful, how great Krishna is. And then, establishing the full loving connection with Krishna. So, any comment or questions? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I want to ask a question about how you're talking about how the universe is controlled and Krishna's playing. And at the same time, Krishna does intervene in the material world when it comes to his partiality toward his devotees. And there's a contradiction, an apparent contradiction in my mind regarding this aspect, in that, and I think it was like even in the last verse that you read from Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna, our faith, he intervenes in terms of faith. So our faith in Krishna comes by his mercy. And similarly, the faith of people who worship demigods, even Krishna, he says, he gives them that faith so that they may gradually elevate. Then at the same time, and this is where the contradiction arises, and I think it's related to the last verse you read. So, and there's two contradictions I find, and that's where Prabhupada says that it's in the Gita, or Nectar of Devotion, where Prabhupada says that anyone who rejects the conclusion of the Vedas is an atheist. The conclusion being that Krishna is the supreme worshipable personality of Godhead. So demigod worshippers, with their kind of compromised faith, is really atheism, and we can see that in their lifestyle and their mentality. And similarly, in the verse that's really there that you read, is that those who reject me or like leave me, I perpetually place into ignorance, so they face annihilation again and again. And this is I've kind of thought about this a lot, and I've heard different answers, and I want to ask, like, not everyone will go back to Godhead, because Krishna says, there are those who turn their backs to me, and Krishna places into ignorance to face annihilation again and again. So if Krishna has placed a living entity into ignorance to face annihilation perpetually, then this is something I don't understand. I don't know how to even ask a question about it, because it's really beyond my capacity to even question. You know what I'm saying?
You ever heard the definition of God or part of the definition of God as that in which all conflicting truth becomes harmonious, or like that. So so that is the inconceivable nature of the personality of Godhead. So for us to understand, it's difficult to understand, because the perspective by which we're trying to understand is our reality. From the reality of Krishna, from the transcendental reality, which is eternal, this is like nothing. I mean, it's explained that, many of us are defined in the scriptures as nitya bhadas, eternally conditioned. I mean, it sounds like, the Christian, thing. You're eternally in hell, something like that. Eternally nitya bhada. Now, how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains this nitya bhada is from the perspective of us in this material world. Is like an eternity. And from the perspective of eternity, it's just a tiny speck. Now, if you take, just mathematically speaking, if you take a little portion, a little speck of eternity, a little fraction, what is a fraction of eternity is? It's eternal. There's no, you can say, okay, a fraction of eternity is this number. No, it's eternity. It's eternal. So, but it's a fraction. So from that confusion that we have is that the way we see things is like this linear time. And so we have to have something boxed. Well, how can you box eternity? So is from the perspective of an eternal reality, This is just a moment of a bad dream. From the perspective of the experience itself in the material world, is eternal. Now, it is explained that anitya bhata, by the mercy of a devotee, what is a nitya mukta personality, eternally liberated soul, then one can actually become, free from whatever this situation. So, Krishna is extremely involved, but that's the inconceivable part. He's extremely involved, and at the same time, he's not, but he is. But he's not, but he is. So the actual fact is that he's really involved. He's really involved. He have that capacity. He have the capacity to be independent, but at the same time be so involved that is really touching, and and when we start to get a sense of that, when we start to get, how involved he is, how close to us he is, and how much he's trying for us to reawaken in our relationship with him, how much investment he has on that, and how many things he makes arrangements, for us to receive that is very touching. And then we have a sense of Krishna's kindness, the experience that just as individuals that we have through Krishna's devotees, which are emissaries of Krishna. And then sometimes you think like that, how much caring is there by Krishna's devotee towards you? Sometimes I think of my Guru Maharaj. I'm just one of the little disciples among, so many. But at the same, he still knows and cares, and when there's always, you feel the arrangement, the protection, like that. So that's how Krishna works. It's wonderful. It's wonderful Krishna. So.
Can I ask another question?
Yes, please.
Okay. This question, I want to verify whether this is a proper understanding or if this is just my speculation. Is it that one thing I was thinking about with Krishna? By the way, thank you for that answer. It's very nice. And I was going to ask about this partiality that Krishna has, and I was thinking that, because the devotees are so merciful, because we're here to help Krishna to bring people back to him, and I was wondering if it's due to Krishna's partiality toward his devotees that when, for instance, I was a fallen soul, I didn't know who Krishna was. At least now I know who he is. So it was by his partiality toward the devotees who exposed me to Krishna consciousness that Krishna sort of helped me come out of ignorance. Because I was choosing ignorance, right? Is it, you know what I'm saying? So is it Krishna's partiality toward them, and I just got the sukriti of that? Do you see what I'm asking?
Yeah, that could be. Although, and many of us don't even feel, that, hey, I was a devotee, and then by Krishna being partial towards me, then I was picked up. So, yeah, he's a lost devotee. Let me pick him up. Many of us had the experience of being like a lost soul that was somehow or other, rescued. Because without Krishna's devotee just coming to us, I mean, you can't even imagine where you would be, like that. So, is therefore so much praise and so much appreciation is given to the devotee. And the devotee simply represents Krishna's love. So in reality, it's again, Parasha Shaktir. Krishna spans his inconceivable and unlimited capacity of caring for all living beings. He plays that potency on his devotees. And through his devotees, is perfectly executed. So therefore, we praise Srila Prabhupada, that he's an ocean of mercy. We praise the devotees as, as very kind, what is it? Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha, kripa sindhu vyaevacha. In an ocean of mercy. Because they care. They take all risks to reach and pick up people like many of us. So, and then here we are, they engage us, in bringing that opportunity to others. And that's an amazing, opportunity that some of us, are given to assist those Kripa Sindhu personalities who are representing Krishna's supreme mercy to get the opportunity like that. So it's amazing. Any other comment or questions? Dr. Mitch, bro.
So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that he's telling all this we're speaking the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna because he's not envious of him. But for us, we're experiencing envy towards others, other devotees and other people. So what to speak of envy towards Krishna? How do we deal with these envious tendencies?
Well, the first thing is just to understand how can you be envious of someone who is so great that is not even, I may be envious of something that, of, my brother who is, is doing better than me or something like that. But when we talk about, something beyond our dreams, it's like, so understanding Krishna's position, as being great. But in one sense too, it's a certain condition of the heart, that one have to become purified from. Sometimes it will take some good amount of prasadam and good amount of hearing, kirtan, to be able to take away those layers of envy that are there, those qualities, that they're so ingrained on the Kali Yuga people, So, but when one's hearts start to open, oh yeah, Krishna is great, and just the faith start to grow, then one is ready for receiving devotional service. So the process is Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, and then Bhajana Kriya. So Shraddha and Sadhu Sangha, these two things builds, faith. And when that faith is built, you're ready to receive bhajan, engage in bhajan, devotion, bhakti. All right. Anything else? Thank you so much. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.